Hello, welcome to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Pulaski Electric System. I'm Steve Pierce, your host of the Coach's Corner, along beside Bobcat head football coach David W. O'Connor. Coach,
I like that, Steve. I like that.
big district win last Friday night over the Fairview Yellow Jackets. Score 24-14. The Bobcats win another district game.
Just like we expected, Steve, we went into the game knowing it was going to be a prelude to what a playoff game will be like for our kids, and in the environment, the atmosphere. The city of Pulaski, Giles County came out and provided a great atmosphere for a high school football game, and our kids went out and played. And in the end, I think we won the turnover battle. We won the game.
Yeah, we knew Fairview was going to be tough going in. I think there was no surprises offensively. They were wanting to go to more.
Yeah, no doubt. They were really good. Moore is a really good football player. Their tailback, Franklin, was a really good football player. They did exactly what we expect them to do, and our defense, I felt, did a good job of stopping it. Other than one big play. One big play.
I thought that their quarterback, Ramey, did a good job, and you're right. Our defense reacted to him, but Ramey may have played one of his best ball games last Friday night.
That's right. He is a manager of a football game, much like Al Cobb is. They manage their teams well. They put them in good situations, and Ramey did a real good job of that Friday night of getting the ball to the people that needed the football, and then when it was his turn, he ran the ball well.
We noticed your strategy, mostly you was trying to keep Ramey in the pocket. Was that something you were working on defense?
It was. Going into the game, we felt like he could hurt us more with his feet than he could with his arm. And so our goal with our D-line was to keep him in front of us, make him put the ball in there. And he actually threw the ball better than he has the last 2 years on us. And he still threw 2 interceptions.
We talked about the safety needing to have a good ball game. Dontarius Gilbert seemed like he was in on a lot of plays the other night.
Dontarius Gilbert's getting better week in and week out. Every week he gets a little better. He's got to where he does a really good job of running the alley and filling off tackle or off the end and making a lot of tackles. And then he does a really good job in pass coverage. He got his 3rd interception Friday night.
How exciting for y'all is it as coaches to see these young kids develop as the season goes on?
Oh, it's really exciting. We've got several sophomores that are out there making play after play. We got Mackenzie Majors on the offensive line who's doing a great job at guard. We got Don Terrace at safety. We've got Cameron Ordaway out at corner. Those 2 guys are as athletic defensive backs as there are in our region, and they're getting better week after week. And then over on the offensive side, we've got Lucas Harrison and at receiver. Those guys are just making plays for us.
Going to the offense, Nico Walker the other night, really good yards. I think just a little over 200 yards rushing for Nico.
Yeah, well, no, he didn't have 200 yards rushing. He had 149, I think. Fresh legs. We've known he's a great running back and as good a running back as we've had since we've been here. We know we want to make a deep playoff run, and the longer we can hold him before we have to use him, the healthier he's going to be. And we needed him the other night, and Nico stepped up.
In the Tennessean last Friday, it came out, a lot of attention and the focus on number 12, Al Cobb, your quarterback. How did that affect him? How did that affect the game with all the publicity? And we had Rudy Kalis coming in with the helicopter. Did it add to or take away?
I don't think it made one difference. Al Cobb plays Al Cobb football. He plays for the Bobcats. He's the leader of our offense. He gets the ball to the right people. It didn't change the way he plays one bit. I thought he went out and had another great game.
Coach, your game plan the other night on offense, it looked like he was more determined to try to run the football.
Well, we're actually looking to be able to throw the ball to some of those one-on-one coverages they had on the outside, but when we got into the game, we seen some things we're doing. We had actually not even worked much on a trap play all week, and the trap play was our number 1 play, giving the ball to Nico right through the middle, our guard Xing there and kicking the tackle, and it turned out to be our number 1 play.
Yeah, great adjustments. Let's talk just a second about special teams. First off, the kickoff team, we tried to keep it away from Moore all night long.
Well, we tried to keep it away from Moore and Franklin. They put those 2 guys deep. We knew we had to keep the ball or minimize what they were going to do to hurt us. Moore did catch 1 touchdown pass. He caught a pass on a slant and made a couple people miss and scored. But we knew we couldn't just let him get the ball time after time. So what we did was our plan on the kickoffs was to sky kick and make them catch on a fair catch. If you were at the game, you saw the first one. He catches the ball about the time Nico Walker comes diving right across his head. If he don't duck, Nico may knock him out of the game right there. And then on punts, Herbie's job was to keep it away from them on the punts. The one they did catch, we had as good a punt coverage as we had all year. He moved around, tried to go side to side, and eventually just went down.
Yeah, we mentioned on the air the other night how everyone's staying in their lanes. Good job.
Really good job of covering punts.
Also, the respect that Fairview showed Kenton Baker, number 15, they also didn't kick deep to us.
You're exactly right. They didn't not just kick it, but they did a good job of matching him up. They put their number one player on him to defend him, and really good job. That's smart coaching on their part. You could tell they were prepared for the game, and we were prepared for the game as well.
Also, Herbie Foster, it's a big field goal for him to come in down the road. Nice three-pointer by Herbie Foster.
We expect Herbie to make those kicks every time we run through our stuff in practice. We kick one from about 35 to 42 yards in there, and he kicks 3 or 4 of them every day, just the same way. And just like we did in the game, he stepped right and did his job.
You're talking about the atmosphere down here. I mentioned earlier Rudy Kalis from Channel 4 was down here. What about the crowd Friday night and the excitement? It just keeps growing every game.
That's right. Our home side does a great job. We couldn't ask more as a football team from our community than what we get. It's great support, and not just our community. It all starts at our school. Our principal, Coach Garden, does a wonderful job supporting us. He takes care of us the best he can. That and all our administrators, our athletic directors, and things of that nature. And we are really a fortunate team.
Yeah, just a team effort from the staff to the coaches to the faculty,
teachers,
players,
everybody. That's right.
Everybody.
They all work. If we have kids that have problems in class, we have good enough teachers, and they're good enough. They know that our kids work hard. They come and say, Coach, he's not doing this. Can you help us out? And we do, because we know that they help us.
Yeah, that's important. It really is. Moving on. This week, we traveled to Spring Hill, the Williamson County side, which is actually the Franklin side, to take on Summit High School. It'd be our first trip to this high school.
Yeah, and they were a brand new school last year. They've got kids that they don't have many seniors, but what they have, the young guys they have, you can tell that they've all improved since last year.
Yeah, this team, what do we expect from them offensively, Coach?
They are more of a run-oriented offense. They're really well coached. The things you can do, you can see the way they line up and the way they move, that they're really well coached. They're just younger, and they're stepping up into big football next year. They're going up to 5A and 6A football next year. But what they do it really well. They're a run-oriented team that will play action.
Coach, what about the defense we can look for Summit?
They run a 4-4, split 4 defense, mostly cover 3 in the secondary. We really want to do a good job of focusing on the Bobcat run game this week, and just doing our base pass game. I think all that, because when you get down to it, their defense almost mirrors our defense.
Coach, the Bobcats are sitting at 7-0. They're perfect in the district. We got 3 district games left.
Steve, we got 1 game right now. I don't want to talk about those others.
That's true, Coach. 1 game at a time. But 3 games left in the regular season. We want the fans to travel up there to Summit this Friday night.
That's right. The more we get there, our team feeds off of it. The enthusiasm, the atmosphere. Our team feeds off of what we hear behind us and the support we hear behind us. We know that we've got a good following, and we don't want to let those people down.
What about injuries, Coach? What are we looking like?
We're banged up here and there, but after 7 games, you expect to be. And we have no major injuries. We've lost nobody majorly. Last year at this point, we'd already lost 3 or 4 kids. We've lost nobody permanently this year, so we're real fortunate in that regard.
Coach, you talk about your staff and stuff. Let's talk about some of your other assistants. Let's talk about Coach Kirk and Coach Hopkins.
Yeah, we're real fortunate to get those 2 guys in this year. They play a big role in what we do. Coach Kirk, he come down from Richland. He had a tough time up there for a couple of years as head football coach. Really feels like he's got back into his element as an assistant coach, working with the offensive line. And I think our offensive line has a big-time upgrade from last year just because of his tutelage with him. He's been an offensive line coach for several years. He coached professional football with the Arena League for about 6 years, 2 or 3 years with the Philadelphia Soul in Philadelphia. and 5 or 6 years with the arena team in Huntsville, and he's been a long-time high school football coach. Does a really good job with our offensive line, and we're really young up front. And we have one senior on the offensive line, a senior at tight end. The rest of the guys are juniors and sophomores, and he's kind of brought them along week by week, and I think we're improving every week.
Coach Hopkins?
Coach Hopkins is a young guy. He'd been coaching over at Lincoln County last year. He's come over when Coach Hickman went to Richland to work with them. He come in and is starting to work with our secondary. He works along with Coach Bedingfield and the rest of the defensive staff. Each week they go in and they put together a great game plan. And he does a really good job working with those two young people we have in the secondary along with Troy Jenkins.
Coach, let's talk about a few of the seniors this year. Let's talk about Blake Sanders. You just mentioned that you have a young offensive line, but we've had a lot of people been impressed watching Blake Sanders play this year, the senior.
Blake Sanders is a kid that we've counted on now. This is his 3rd year that we've kind of depended on him. He's tough more than he is good. He is a physically tough person. Mentally, physically, he'll get under somebody's skin and physically just whip them. His technique has improved week by week. It started last season he got injured early in the year. First of all, he had mono, then he got a little injury. He is our best offensive lineman at this point, and he's the guy that the rest of us kind of follow because we know that he's going to give his all every time.
Staying on the offensive side of the ball, we talked about Nico Walker earlier, but D.D. Coffey, he's been solid all year long.
D.D. Coffey is there's times I think he makes some bad decisions as a runner, but as far as a speed guy to the outside, I don't think there's anybody better in the state of Tennessee. And as far as being serious about trying to do his assignment every time, it's really important to DD. And I think he's improved tons or tremendously since last year at the beginning of the season. And he's a guy that we need to get the ball more to. The problem is we just got so many weapons on offense I feel like we can use. And week to week, some weeks it's a week that we need to bang it up inside with a runner like Nico, like last Friday night. And then some of the weeks we have to get to the edge. And then those are the weeks we got to get the ball to DD more.
I want to swap over on this show to one more defensive senior we talk about. The other night matched up with DeAndre Moore, Troy Jenkins, the senior corner for Giles County, just solid as a rock over there.
Well, right now, Steve, he's the guy that when we play somebody's best receiver, Coach Bedingfield, Coach Cobb, and those guys on that side, they're going to try to match Troy up with their best receiver. He is our best shutdown corner at this point. He's a senior, and just like DD, it means a lot to Troy Jenkins. Our team means a lot to Troy Jenkins, and he's always going to give his best. His technique has improved so much since last year, and just his body has matured to where he has become a really, really good football player.
Coach, one last thought about Summit. The Bobcats win if?
Just like always, Steve, if we take care of the football, if we eliminate big plays, and we tackle well in the open field.
Well, there you have it. Another big ball game this Friday night at Summit High School in Williamson County, the Spring Hill area. Everybody come out and support the Bobcats. This has been the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Pulaski Electric System. I'm Steve Pierce, your host, along with Bobcat head coach David O'Connor. Join us again.